Welcome everybody to the second episode of Political Leadership for All. As you know, Political Leadership for All is a series of episodes aiming to bring awareness of the amazing leadership in our Black Canadian communities. It is essentially to encourage and reinforce our political leadership in order to be involved in the governance of Canadian institutions through the role of a municipal councillor or member of Provincial National Assembly or a member of a parliament or even leader in crown corporations and institutions, including judge in the Canadian judiciary, councillor or board member of a given Canadian university. My name is Olive Kamanyana. I'm president of LeaderPOL, Political Leadership for People of African Descent. In addition to be president of LeaderPOL, I'm a manager in the federal government. I'm also involved in my community at different levels. I have been involved in politics. I'm still active in politics. And in 2018, I ran for the provincial election in Quebec. It is as president of LeaderPOL that I am honored today to be your host for this show. I would also like to thank our partner, Bia Media, for allowing us to use this platform. Today, we are having a conversation with 10 young women and men who are amazingly involved in their community, even at their young age. They are interested in transforming their early community leadership into a public and political leadership. We also have invited Greg Fergus, Member of Parliament representing the whole Aylmer constituency. Greg Fergus is also the chair of the Canadian Caucus of Black Parliamentarians. I am sure that Mr. Fergus will inspire our young leaders and answer their questions on how to become a public and political representative. Mr. Greg Fergus, we are happy to have you here today. You are mute. You are on mute.
You would think after 8 months of doing Zoom meetings from morning to night that I would learn how to take off my mute button.
I know it does happen to everybody. So MP Greg Fergus, would you please take some minutes and talk to us who you are and what you do?
Sure. Well, thank you for introducing me in my riding. I'm a federal member of parliament from the riding of Hull-Aylmer, which is the riding just outside of Parliament Hill on the other side of the Ottawa River on the Quebec side of the border. I've been member of parliament since 2015, and in my time as member of parliament, I've occupied a number of roles. First of all, being, of course, member of parliament for Hull-Aylmer as a backbencher. I've also worked as the parliamentary secretary for the Minister of Innovation, Science and Economic Development. I sat on the House of Commons Standing Committee on Finance, which we produced, I think, a great report on how to fight against the pursuits of crime and anti-money laundering. I've also been named parliamentary secretary to the president of the Treasury Board and to the Minister for Digital Government. And those are the roles which I occupy now. It's kept me very busy, but as all MPs are, most of the work that we do is at committee level, and it's been really quite a fun ride over the last 5 years. But a role that I've taken on, which is one which has been probably dearest to my heart, is to be president of the Parliamentary Black Caucus for the last 4 years. And during that time, we have worked with the government to bring about a number of things. One, the recognition of anti-Black racism, which the Prime Minister Trudeau became the first Prime Minister to ever recognize that. To set up funding for mental health, to working on issues of disaggregating data. And as many of you folks have seen, if you have a $10 bill in your pocket, you might notice that there is a Canadian woman on the banknote, and I'm really quite proud to say that that was work which we have done as a Black Caucus to get Viola Desmond, to a Black Nova Scotian, an African Nova Scotian, to be the first woman on a first Canadian-born woman to be on a Canadian banknote. So we've done that, and a number of important work which we've done with the Parliamentary Black Caucus over the last 6 months, especially after the gruesome videos that we saw come out of the United States. And we laid out a plan as to how we can make sure that Black Canadians are fully at the table to take our place.
Mm-hmm. That's so amazing, and I really follow what you do, and I follow what the Black Caucus does, and I also follow your achievement in the two departments that you are serving, and I'm amazingly proud of what you do, Greg. But I think I'm not more proud than these young people who are today trying to know you and to know what you do, and also to know what difference does what you do as a Black community member and also as a Canadian. So let's start with our young people, ask them to introduce themselves. Let's start with Bila.
Right. Hi.
Hi, Bila.
So yes, my name is Bila. I'm 23 years old, and I am a student at the University of Ottawa studying criminology with a minor in journalism. So I was born in Lévis, Quebec, but I was raised in Ottawa for much of my life, so that is home. So I've been immersed in the many environments of the 8th Committee of Ottawa, both as a participant and a volunteer for many years. I spend most of my time volunteering at the food bank, which is a service they offer on Fridays. So we pack food boxes and then we deliver them to participants. I also, another community initiative I'm proud to be a part of is the African Caribbean and Black Community Health Zone, which is a holistic health center that is geared specifically to the Black community in the Ottawa and Gatineau region.
Thank you, Bila. Welcome, and let's have fun in upcoming minutes. Let's have Onome present herself.
Hi, I'm very grateful to be here. My name is Onome. My pronouns are she and her. I'm 20 years old and I'm currently a third-year student at Carleton University. I'm studying political science with a minor in philosophy. I was born in Toronto. I was raised in Brampton and then I came to Ottawa for school. I am currently a fellow of the 1834 Fellowship, which is under Operation Black Vote Canada. I am part of the first cohort, so that's very exciting. I'm also co-president of the Carleton Political Science Society this year. And this year I launched my own podcast called the Political This That podcast, which focuses on talking about political and social justice issues. And I've been able to interview some local people. I've been able to talk about being a child of the diaspora, so talking to children of immigrants from Nigerian and Cameroonian backgrounds. I've been able to talk to young Black men about mental health. I've been able to talk to other previous parliamentarians, so it's been very exciting.
Again, this is really encouraging how people we have are involved in our communities. Let's have Stéphane. Stéphane, it's your turn, please.
Mama.
Go ahead, Stéphane.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we do.
Okay, perfect. Hi, everyone. My name is Stephen Kirenga. I'm a LeaderPOL Vice President of Youth Outreach. I'm 24 years old and I hold a bachelor's degree in political science and communication from the University of Ottawa. I currently work as a senior support, program support at Health Canada. I'm originally from Honda and immigrated here at the age of 7 with my family. In recent years, I've been looking to get more involved within my own community. And that's why I started getting involved in LeaderPOL. I'm a proud member and, like I said, the Vice President of Youth Outreach. And it was mainly because to ensure basically that our voices as young Black women and men are heard. So I'm super happy to be here tonight with Mr. Greg Fergus and our great panel. Thank you.
Thank you, Stefan. Now, Markicia.
Hi, hello everyone. Thank you for having me. My name is Markicia Fletcher. I am 19 years old. I was originally born in Kingston, Jamaica, and then I came to Canada to live in Brampton for a couple of years now. I am a second-year student at Ryerson University, and I'm studying social work. Then I'll move on to do law. For years, I have been a part of Big Brother Big Sisters as a teen mentor, and now I'm a part of the National Youth Mentoring Advisory Council and also the Black Youth Advisory Council of Big Brother Big Sisters.
Marvelous.
That's great again. And our last in 5 it will be Sagar, and the other 5 will come after. So let's hear about Sagar.
Hi, my name is Sagal. I am 25 years old and I was born and raised in Toronto. I am currently residing in Scarborough. I finished my undergrad in international development at the University of Toronto. Currently, I am a project coordinator at the Future Skills Center, and I am also a part of the 1834 Fellowship as a fellow. And I've had the luck to be paired with MP Greg Fergus, which has been quite impactful. And I'm just happy to be here. Thank you.
Great. So, MP Greg Fergus, you see how our people are really have already experienced it. You should not be worried about who is taking over. Anytime you have achieved whatever you want to achieve. So
Worried. I'm almost
you're
afraid
not
that they'll run against me.
I think they respect you, so that they admire you. So let's start with a series of questions from these 5 young men and women. And after we start with the other ones, let's start with the question from Bia.
Yes. Okay. So hi, MP Ferguson.
Just by the way, everybody, call me Greg, please.
Right. Okay.
It's easy.
Greg. So the first question we are wanting to ask you is for you to describe what is the role and function of a member of Parliament.
Yeah, I think there are probably a couple of roles and functions. The first one is that we represent an area. So we represent our community and we represent them in Parliament. So we should be really keep our ears to the ground to hear what they're doing. But there's also another role. There's a role of being a leader. As we have the time to really get into the issues, sometimes what we initially thought was the right thing to do gets tempered by the knowledge that you get when you become somewhat of an expert on some files. So sometimes you have to lead back to your community. And thirdly, there is also trying to balance what's in the greater good for the country. So so you're a leader, you're a follower, and you're a judge, and it all gets mixed up into one role.
Mm-hmm. And maybe, do you have any sub question, Bia?
What has been well, you have just mentioned that sometimes you're at the same time a leader, a judge, and a follower as well. So the lines sometimes blur. What helps you situate yourself? What helps yourself situate?
That's an excellent question, and one which I hope any good member of Parliament struggles with every day. I think what has helped me in my particular case, I like to read. And I like to talk. So I also like to listen. So reading is great because it gives me so many experiences I wouldn't be able to have myself. And when I actually ended up running, I was 46 years old. So I had a lot of books and stories that have filled my head. And so when you have the experience of hearing some people talk, listening to their stories, and also being forced to defend your own ideas, And you combine that all with reading about all the different things that are going on in the world or in the world of imagination, you develop a bit of a sense. You develop a sense of judgment. For people like me, it took a long time for me to develop that kind of judgment. For you and the other folks who are going to be questioning that, asking me questions, I'm quite convinced you guys have a ton of experiences. You've done a lot more in your young years than I did in my lifetime at that point. So I think it just depends on the judgment that you bring. That's how you try to make the right decisions.
Wonderful. It was a great question and a great answer. We still have so many questions, Greg. Keep your energy. We have Onome who has another question.
Hello, Greg. So my question is, what other roles do you have as a parliamentarian? And kind of talk to us about what those roles actually mean. What does the day-to-day about them, and kind of what do they mean in terms of government as a whole, and parliament as a whole? So like you're parliamentary secretary to the president of the Treasury Board and Minister of Digital Government and president of the Black Caucus. So kind of tell us about those roles and how they work.
Those are important roles, and they're also very different roles. So as parliamentary secretary, I get to assist the minister in discharging their duties. So and it depends on the minister. I'm very fortunate. I have two good ministers who really love to give me a lot of work. So on the Treasury Board of side of things, the minister is actually given me my own mandate to work with the department and to work with other departments to do two things. One is to making sure that people of color, racialized Canadians have their place in the public service and that their place throughout the public service. So that one was sort of an easy one for me. And the second one is to making sure that we can reform the Employment Equity Act. So that's the legal framework that we haven't changed in decades, to making sure that we have a public service that that reflects the diversity of Canada. So we're working on those two files on that. On digital government, I have a minister who gives me a lot of role, a lot of space to work with her and her team to try to make our government as useful to you, especially your generation, as you get when you guys use your little devices and you do online banking. But yet when you go to the government, it's all you got to fill out faxes, you got to do PDFs and all that kind of stuff, things that you don't do anywhere else in your own lives. So that's been exciting to work that front. And as I mentioned earlier, doing the Black Caucus, well, that's just been a real eye-opener. And that means working with Black communities across the country and working with academics, people on the ground, speaking to folks in every community about their realities and trying to make sure that the federal government is doing its role to making sure that they can live their lives fully.
Mm-hmm. That's so good. Again, as I understand, Greg is part of that team who is trying to help our lives to be more easier than it is every day. So thank you, Greg. But we have another question from Stefan. Stefan, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Hi, Greg. Nice to see you.
Good seeing you too.
So my question, thank you. My question would basically just be another follow-up on that topic. Why is it important to be a member? Why is it important to be a member of parliamentary associations and inter-parliamentary groups?
Right, that's a good point. I forgot that I do that as well. I sit as a member of the Canada Africa Parliamentary Association, member of the Canada CARICOM Parliamentary Friendship Group, and a number of other parliamentary associations. This is sort of the real fun part of being an MP. Not only do you do the stuff that focuses you in Canada, but you get to experience what other parliamentarians are experiencing around the world. So being part of these friendship groups, this gives us an opportunity not to meet as government to government, but to meet as an MP compared to another elected representative in another country. We're able to check notes and just really reveal, the anxieties that we have in working under different conditions. We learn from each other, and we try to form a bit of a support network. We like to think that we can help export. As Canadians, we can export some democratic values, but we learn a lot about democratic values from other countries, especially in the Caribbean and on the African continent. For example, from Rwanda, they have over 60% of their elected members are women. Canada's so far from that. We just broke the 30% mark. We have a long way to go before we match up the advanced work of what Rwanda does in terms of gender representation.
Thank you. Yes, you answered the question because I knew that you went to Rwanda. My question was, what did you learn from Rwanda? Now you responded, so that's really sharp.
A lot of things I learned in Rwanda, I tell you. And it's not all sweetness and light. I mean, they went through the terrible genocide against the Tutsis back in 1994, and living with the aftermath of that is very difficult for Rwandans, but yet they've chosen to move forward together, which gives us a lot of hope, but still there's a lot of trauma that exists there.
Yeah, thank you very much to touch on that. We have Markicia, who has the next question.
Hello,
Hi,
Greg.
Markicia.
So my question is, as a young Black man living in Canada, what inspired you to get involved in politics? And how did you know that you wanted to be an
It's so
MP?
funny. I asked my dad that question on the day that I got elected, hoping that he would be able to give me some insight on this. And we both came to the conclusion I must have just fallen on my head when I was a kid, and just always.
Oh, we lost you, Greg. Oh, we lost Greg. We now, there's a technical problem, I think. Luke? Oh, Greg is back. Oh, go ahead, you're mute. Okay, you're back. Go ahead, Greg. Greg, we can see you. Oh, he's gone again. Greg, do you hear me? Greg, do you hear me? Hello, Greg. We do have technical issues here. Let's. Oh, yes.
Can you guys hear me now?
Can hear you. Yeah. Yes.
All right.
Something happened.
My problem is I can't hear you.
No, it's okay.
We'll figure this out shortly.
Yeah, that's okay. Now we hear you. So you were speaking about. Are you okay?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, we do hear you. Can you hear us?
I can hear you now too.
You can hear me?
I had a bit of a power fail. Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Okay, no problem. Yes, we do.
Good. I apologize for that technical issue.
It's okay. We know what this is. Yes, you were talking about the question from Markicia.
Great, Markicia, sorry, can you repeat that question for me again? I'm sorry, I got distracted.
That's okay, no problem. So my question was, as a young Black man living in Canada, what inspired you to get involved into politics? And how did you know that you wanted to be an MP?
You know, the funny thing is, when I told you the story about my dad, the earliest I can trace it to is around 12 years old, or a little earlier, actually, I think 11, when 1980 referendum in Quebec. And I saw that everybody was talking about what was going on, politics. I didn't know what politics were, but people were talking about grocery stores, my parents were talking about it. It was on everybody's mind. So I saw that politics was really important. Then the second connection I think I made was about a year later when some friends and I did some charity work for one of the charities to raise money. We actually raised a lot of money, just as 11, 12-year-olds. raised about $800 in a day for one of the charities. And when we presented it, people thought that the best thing ever. So we got that positive reinforcement at being helpful, being of service to others. So from that point on, I just always had this desire to be of service to other people. I saw it as making a contribution. Politics was something that was important to everybody. So I figured that was the place to be. And so I've always worked in politics, but I never had any date with destiny, Markicia. I never had any said, I'm going to be an MP by such and such a date. It really, if the opportunity arose, I figured I'd pursue it. But if it didn't arise, I'm a pretty happy guy, and I would have done something else that would have made a contribution to my community.
Yeah, if I understand you started like our guest here started, so that's great, and it's why I said at the beginning that you're inspiring them, because it's possible. So we have the last of 5 questions from Saga.
Hi, Saga.
Hi, Greg. So I feel obligated to ask you this question as my mentor, but did you have a mentor in the beginning stages of your political endeavors?
I
how
did
has that
have a mentor.
impacted
I remember it was 1990, and I didn't realize she was a mentor to me until as I went along, I realized that I could go to her for advice. Her name is Penny Collinette. She was a friend of Jean Chrétien's who was working on his leadership, and I was working on his leadership in 1990. And I don't know what she saw in me, but she always gave me an opportunity to invite me to different meetings. And throughout my entire life, she's been a great friend who has always reached back and opened doors for me. She was probably my first mentor that I realized was a mentor. There's another mentor who I have here in the region. Her name is Mireille Apollon. Mireille Apollon was the first Black municipal councillor in Gatineau. She's taken her retirement. And once again, just like Penny, I'm not certain what she saw, but she has always had time for me, always been helpful to me, always put a hand back to help pull me along. And I think that's a really important thing that any mentor can do to anybody who's starting out in any field. Politics, it's important, but it could be in whatever field you choose to study or choose to pursue. It's always good to have somebody who is willing to share their experiences with you and save you time, so you don't make the same mistakes that they do. Make new mistakes, but not the same old ones.
Mm-hmm. That's so amazing. And we have some questions coming in from people who are following us, but we will address them at the end. I think we are done with the 5 first guests we have. If we can bring other people, if we have Carole and Dieudonné and Safi and Lorraine and André Michel coming in, they can start introducing them. Do we have Carole? Carole, you can introduce yourself.
Hi. Hello. My name is Carole Bougary. It's nice to be here with you, Greg Fergus.
It's a pleasure to meet with you, Carole.
I'm 26 years old and I'm born and raised in Ottawa. I graduated from the University of Ottawa with a bachelor's in public administration and a minor in psychology. And I'm currently a public servant. I started my career at Shared Services Canada, and there I actually joined an employee-led network called Agora, and I implemented a department-wide program called Student Ideation. I recently joined a new department. I am at Crown Indigenous Relations in Northern Affairs Canada. And I've also been involved through my community in different organizations in Junior Achievement Canada, the Ottawa Mission, and the Ottawa Network for Education.
Wow. Thank you, Carole. Yeah, it's impressive. And Dieudonné.
Hello, everyone. It's my joy to be here. I'm Dieudonné Bidilimana.
Yes, we hear you. Go ahead, Dieudonné. We hear you. Yeah.
I thought I was becoming but I'm still Dieudonné. Yeah.
Go ahead. Yes, we hear. Continue. Go on.
Yeah, I'm Dieudonné Bigirimana. I'm probably the one who is bit old. I'm 32 years old.
Oui. Yeah, go on.
I think you're probably getting some feedback. Are you, Dieudonné?
Yeah, it looks like.
Yeah, no, but go ahead. Go ahead. We hear you clearly.
You sound perfect. So just talk through it.
Okay, yes.
So you said you are 32 years old?
Yeah. 32 years old. I am a priest, a Dominican priest, and then currently I'm yes.
Mm-hmm. Are you okay? We can maybe we can. Do you want come after? Maybe connect and reconnect after. What do you mean? What do you think? I think you maybe reconnect 2 times. You can connect and reconnect, disconnect and reconnect again. We can go with Safi.
So hi, Greg Fergus. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here. Can you all hear me?
Likewise. We can hear you perfectly,
We
Safi.
do.
Perfect.
We do.
Thank you. So my name is Safi Nsiempba and I'm 22 years old. I was born and raised in Montreal, but my parents are from Cameroon. I'm really close to my roots. So I'm currently in my 3rd year of law at the University of Montreal, so I'm almost done. I'm involved in the law faculty as well as outside because and it keeps me really busy. So I'm the coordinator of the Pro Bono chapter of the University of Montreal. So I don't know if Pro Bono is more of an organization around Canada, and it provides legal advice to different organizations. So I'm the president also of the Feminist Committee, and I'm the member of the Black Student Association of my law school. So, and I'm also an intern at the Myland Legal Clinic in Montreal. So
Wow, that's amazing. As a Montreal born and raised, I understand exactly where you're coming from and the places that you're working. So that's great.
Yes.
Thank you, Safi. And Lorraine.
Hello, can you hear me?
Indeed, Lorraine.
Yes, my name is Lauren. I'm really glad to be there. Honestly, I had a heart stroke for Mr. Fergus when he came at my CEGEP 2 years ago. So I'm really happy to be there. I'm 20 years old and my first year at the Ottawa University in the International Economic Sciences. So I was born in Ivory Coast and I came here 9 years ago with my mom and my brother. And I just started a new job in a retirement home that I really like it because I really like help the old people. And I'm also involved in my church community.
Amazing. Again, Greg, Lorraine is in your writing, just to say. Now we have
when we met at the CEGEP, so this is great.
Now we have André Michel.
Hi, what's up, guys?
Mm-hmm.
Hi, André Michel.
All right, my name is André Michel Nyaba. I am 18 years old, so I'm the youngest. I study at CEGEP de l'Outaouais in social science. I'm in my 3rd years, and I'm not very comfortable in English, but I'll try my best.
You're doing really, really well.
Thanks. I've been in Canada. I've been a Canadian since 2015, and I was originally born in Ivory Coast, and Lauren is my sister. So yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Andrew. Yeah, go ahead. Are you done?
Just one sentence, one more sentence. Not very into politics, but I'm here to learn and have some experiences. So that's it.
Yeah, and André Michel said that he does follow you, Greg, and he's again in your writing. I think we have Dieudonné back.
Yes, thank you. I think this time around it's working well.
Okay, go ahead.
Good.
Yeah. Dieudonné Bigirimana is my name. Probably I'm the oldest of this group. I'm 32 years old, and I am a priest, as I said previously. I'm a Dominican priest, born in Rwanda, but now living in Ottawa and ministering to people of God in Orleans. As a Dominican priest, I'm also the provincial promoter of justice and peace. That is for the Dominicans in Canada, in Rwanda, and in Japan. And I'm also a member of UN Dominican Advisory Committee. The Dominicans, they have a seat in they sit in UN, so I am in that advisory committee. And it is my pleasure to be here and to talk with Greg.
Well, Dieudonné, it's a pleasure to meet you. My wife works at the diocese of le diocèse de Gatineau. Alors, on a plusieurs liens ensemble.
I think it's also amazing to see that there's always connections. Let's start with the questions. As I said, Greg, you have to be sharp today because you have so interesting questions and tough questions. And we can start with Kalor's question.
Hi, Greg. So the question that I have for you today is, I wanted to know if you encountered any challenges when pursuing your goals, and if so, what did you do to overcome them?
We face so many challenges. I don't know where, when's the day that I don't face a challenge. I've learned a lot from, I think the best lessons I've ever learned is from my wife, who once when we were just married, we were expecting a baby, and things didn't work out in a job that I had, and I didn't survive the probationary period. And that was hard because, we were young, we were very poor, we were expecting a child, our first. And she said, you know what? This is the opportunity for you to do what you've always wanted to do. And we're free to pursue this, avenue. And it was just such a liberating thing. And I've learned from that lessons that when you have an obstacle, yeah, it stings and yeah, it hurts, but look around. This is a great opportunity for you to step back and to survey the whole area and say, all right, I can't get through by here, but there's something over here that I can move toward, and look for those opportunities, those places to even get further ahead than you would have had if you'd pursued your original direction. So there's always another way to find a way forward.
Yes. Thank you, Greg. We have some 13 minutes remaining. Let's hear about Dieudonné's question.
Thank you. As you can see, Greg, we are so happy to see you as a member of parliament, a Black member of parliament. But we see that you are not so many Black member of parliament. You are not many. And as you can see, there are these young men and these young women, they would like to become member of parliament. So why do you think that it is also important, as we do, that we should be the member of parliament, Black member of parliament, should be many in the parliament? And what do you see as obstacles? Why does it not happen?
So absolutely, we need to have more Black members of parliament. This has been now my big push over the last during this mandate. Representation matters. We need to see it. When I got elected, I didn't intend to become chair of the Black Caucus. I didn't intend to pursue those issues, but it was because I kept on getting contacted by so many Black Canadians from around the country who said, wow, we see you, and we're really proud that you're there. Can you talk about A, B, and C, to help my community out? So I realized it was a real need, but that happens when you don't have representation. So the way to get at representation, I think, is it's not the election itself. You can win in ridings which are not Black majority. I'm the perfect example of that. Hull-Elmer is not a Black majority riding, far from it. But where the problem where the problem really happens is at the nomination process, to getting to be the person who carries your party's standard. That's where you have to really fight hard. So whatever we can do to, which is respectful of whichever political party you decide to get involved in, it's the nominations where you really have to break through. And we're trying to form a group of I know in my party, of Black liberals who are trying to help out Black candidates become, or Black people become the candidates in ridings across the country.
Thank you. And don't forget to involve LeaderPOL. The next question is in the same shape as from Safi. We have 10 minutes to go.
Yes. Yes, perfect. So I won't take long. So is there any barrier for a Black Canadian to be voted as an MP? Would you say that from when you became an MP and
I don't
nowadays?
think there's a barrier. I think it surprises people when you show up at their door and they, you're a first-time candidate and you're Black. It's not their experience, but it's my experience that once you show up at the door and you seem to be a person who speaks to their concerns, it's not a problem. I don't think there was one vote that I lost in Hull Elmer by being Black. If that's the case, then don't get my ego going, because we won with a pretty with a good degree of support in this riding, and I think that's a case of all the Black candidates who have won in Parliament. They won with pretty healthy margins. So the trick is to get past the nomination process, but after that, I think most fair-minded people will give you a chance.
I agree with that because I have been involved in Quebec election in 2018, and I was not voted because I was Black. I think because I had somebody who was also good as I was. So I think that's not a barrier. When they see your experience, they can vote for you. Thank you, Greg. And we have Lauren's question.
Oh, because it's like I have a second question, but it's linked to the. If I may.
Can you come back maybe later, because we do have two other questions?
Okay. Yes.
And
I'll be even more brief, Safi.
Yeah. Okay. So Lauren, please. Lauren.
You have her brother there.
The brother. Okay. So André Michel, vas-y.
All right, I'll go. So, what is your government doing to assure a better representation of Black people?
So I think there are a number of things which we're doing in terms of policies, and I spoke about that at the front end. But I think most importantly is that I find that now the party itself is really looking and being supportive of Black people who want to run in different ridings across the country. I think that's the important aspect, and I'm glad that my party is being very supportive of that. Other parties have also done similar things. I think it's just people are awake to the idea that we have to have, our parliament has to look like Canada, and if that were the case, then we should have about 20 Black MPs in there.
That's great. And Lauren, and after we have Safi, who will have come back with another question.
Hi. So how can a young person like me get involved in parliamentary politics? Is there any opportunities for young people on the Hill?
That's the best part of it, that there's a ton of opportunities. It just takes a lot of work. So you can do things like on the first panelist, we had two panelists who were part of the 1834 Foundation. This is an organization primarily based out of Ontario, but they're trying to spread nationally. 1834 is a year of emancipation for Blacks from slavery in the British Empire. And so that's a great way. And so I act as a mentor to that person. Another way is to volunteer in offices to get yourself known, volunteer in a campaign, or just put your CV out there, try to, discover who you might know and say, look, I'm looking for work, part-time work, full-time work. I just want to, get some experience on the Hill. There is always an opportunity for people to work on Parliament Hill as an aide, and I'm always looking for great talent from the Black community.
Wow, that's wonderful. Safi?
Yes, thank you for allowing me my second question. But it's more of do you think that we should wait for opportunities or that we should create them instead of just?
You hit it. You answered the question. Don't wait. We're tired of waiting. So let's make opportunities. And remember how I talked about what happens when you face an obstacle? You need to find some way to overcome it, to go in another direction. It's the same thing. We could always wait for somebody to invite us. Don't. Let's create the opportunities. This is what Olive has done in terms of creating LeaderPOL. It's bringing these issues to the fore. She's not waiting for anybody to have this discussion. She's brought it forward. She's organized the debate. She's forced politicians and political candidates to deal with and to confront the ideas from Black community, from communities, from people of color. So let's create those opportunities. I think those are that's the best way to put it, and we could be super creative as how we do that.
Thank you. And we do have questions from the public. I guess they will let us know which ones. We have one from Andrea Byfield Pierce. And I know Andrea Pierce. Yes. What would do you see it, Greg? The question.
Yep.
The question is, you see it? Okay.
What advice or what recommendation would I give to young people who would like to run for office, or for them to do or to consider? Again, I think it's, there are just so many different reasons why you should run for office. Some people run when they're young. Some people run like me when I was middle-aged, and there's some people who run when they're older. There's no right way. All of it works. But the question is what do you want to bring to politics? I truly believe you have to have a plan. You have to know yourself really well before you go into politics, because you can be buffeted by the winds and by the currents of politics if you don't know what you want to do aside from just getting the position. So I think you just always have to have a goal in mind that helps guide you. But you can do that at any age, and as we've seen with the people who have asked, the young people who participated on these two panels, they have a lot of talent, and that talent is needed in Parliament. It could be needed now in their lives, or it could be needed later on, whatever works for you. But we need them. So the advice which I give is, when you decide to do it, just go, and don't listen to anybody saying that we've never seen anybody who looks like you to run. Just ignore that advice and keep on moving forward.
Thank you, Greg. Do we have another question? I haven't seen any other. Wow, this is wonderful. I don't even have any other expression to just say thank you. Just seeing these young people asking questions about how to be involved in our making policies, because it's what really our political people do, is making policies and making legislation, and also ensure that we as Canadian, our lives are better. So I'm so proud of that. So again, we will have so much conversation in upcoming 2021. I'm very, very thankful to Greg. He said we can call him Greg, and it's how he is close to his people. And we are proud that our Black community are really have interesting and amazing leadership, and that we strive to build this Canada as a country where diversity means a lot. So I would say, please continue to follow us, continue to check our Twitter, our Facebook, and our Instagram. And if you have time to send us an email, please do it at leaderpolcanada@gmail.com. Thank you very much. Greg, do you have a last word you would like to say?
Well, just Olive, just to thank you and LeaderPOL for organizing this this evening. It had nothing to do with me. I think the real beauty of this evening were the young people who asked the questions, and also the questions which we got from Andrea from the listening audience. Andrea is actually, she's not unknown in the Black community. She does a lot of work, and especially around the creating the Canadian Institute for People of African Descent, CPAD. That's very important. I think for all the young people who are participating today, you guys make me feel great, because I hope that by you seeing me and saying, oh, look, if that guy can do it, anybody can do it, that inspires you to do it. Because I think the future is certainly brighter, knowing that you have opened your horizons even further. And anything you do can make it into politics. I study political science. I could tell you now, political science has very little to do with politics. You could study anything. You could come at it from wherever you are. Just bring a passion, bring a good sense, and make your mark. And I look forward to helping you in any way possible to achieve your goals, because I'm only here temporarily, and I certainly want to leave this place better than when I got it. So, please, I ask, I beg for you young people and anybody of talent, please come forward. Let's see you take your rightful seat in the House of Commons.
Thank you, Greg Fergus, MP at Permanent Hill. And this is LeaderPOL. LeaderPOL is an organization which is really striving to help us to make sure that we are there. It's everything has to start from us. We can ask help from different political parties. We can ask help from government, but everything has to start with us. And we have to be aware of all issues, and we have to ask questions, and we have to support our community, and we have to be there every time and ensure that we make our communities where we live, with the people we live with. It's not only with Black people, it's also with whoever is our neighbor. So please continue to make Canada the country we love. And thank you, Greg. Thank you all of you who were here, and have a great evening. See you soon in 2020 and
2021.
2021. No, we forget 2020.
No one wants to repeat 2020.
2021. I'm sorry. Yes, 2021. And again, happy holidays to everybody. Bye-bye.
Salut.